So, good afternoon, dear friends. For this afternoon, as more people are coming in, I would like to just to start with a song. I have no expectations that you sing along, but if you like to sing along, you're very welcome to. It's also a very easy song, and the song is "I have arrived, I am home." And I think it fits very well to the theme of today. So if you know the song, please sing along, and we sing it a second time. The words are not difficult, I'm sure you'll be able to follow easily. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I am solid, I am free, I am solid, I am free. In the ultimate I dwell, in the ultimate I dwell. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I am solid, I am free, I am solid, I am free. In the ultimate I dwell, in the ultimate I dwell. Okay, let's enjoy listening to three sounds of the bell, and also enjoy just to sit comfortably on the chair or on the cushion with the shoulders relaxed, really enjoying nothing to do, nowhere to go, just to sit and to breathe together, and very much in the spirit of the sign outside the chapel. It says, the present moment is full of wonders. And so we can also see that this moment is a moment full of wonders inside of us and around us. So good afternoon, dear Thai, dear friends. Thank you for coming this afternoon. This is the third talk of this week, and the first talk had the theme, Who is Thich Nhat Hanh? And that was a talk by Tefo Blue. And yesterday we heard more about loving speech and deep listening. That was Sister True Spirit. And today is hiking Zen, training your mind in nature. And these themes, they also have something to do with each other. They're not completely separate. So if we think of who is Thich Nhat Hanh, then we have heard a bit about his life. And of course, his life and his teachings are not separate from one another. And also, Tai usually talked about the spirit of being able to cultivate joy, and on the other hand, also how to take care of suffering and difficulties. And the theme of yesterday, like also we can see it in the spirit of reconciliation, is something that we also see that, like a lot of problems arise from our relationships with other people. And of course, that also has to do with how well we are able to take care of our own difficulties, and also like how well we are capable of cultivating joy. If we do that well, then of course our relationships also benefit from that. This afternoon is called Hiking Zen, and I have a number of bookmarks here, and that you can also find on the table, and it says exactly the same thing as the title of this talk. I don't know if that's coincidence. Probably not. So this is a bookmark that is about a book that is coming out, Hiking Zen and Train Your Mind in Nature. And that's a book that I worked on with Brother Fablu here. And I also want to share a little bit about the context of how we developed a practice that is called Hiking Zen. And it didn't completely fall out of the sky. We really see that it has a lot to do with the practice and the insights of our teacher, and is a natural continuation of our teacher. And so maybe I just go back in time a little bit. I remember, and maybe some of you, because I know that some of you already are familiar with our tradition for a long time, know that Thich Nhat Hanh, our teacher, in the past, he used to come to the US regularly, maybe every 2 years. And we have very beautiful places here. And one very beautiful place here in the US is where is that again? Yeah, it's like like the YMCA of the Rockies. That is in what's the place again? Yeah, Estes Park. Estes Park. So thank you. It's a very beautiful place. And so many of the brothers and sisters, when we were there, it really invites you to go hiking. And many brothers and sisters, they really like to go hiking. And Tai also very much likes the mountains. But maybe hiking is different for everybody. So what our teacher calls hiking is maybe a different kind of hiking than what I have in mind. And so for me, it was, and not only me, but also some of the brothers and sisters, we saw hiking as a way to get our bodies moving, not the slow walking meditation that we always do with Tai, but more vigorous hiking. And so sometimes we would hear like, oh, the Sangha is invited to go hiking with Tai. And I was like, oh no. It was like kind of a, oh no, because we had a different idea of, what is joy? Not completely a different idea, because we also very much enjoy doing walking meditation and being nourished by going slowly and enjoying the nature around us. But there are different ways of cultivating joy. And the way we were walking, I don't think that would have been very enjoyable for Thai. And so a way of nourishing joy is very central to us. And for me, like that vigorous hiking was also a source of joy for me. And and also, like when we think of like cultivating joy, many people have the idea that in Buddhism, the main idea is to talk about suffering, and maybe less about joy. And but if we, I think it depends on what you look at, what is your emphasis. But we can see that in the Buddhist teachings, joy have a role to play. Joy has a role to play. And we can see that because joy is present, for example, in the 7 factors of awakening of the Buddha. So joy goes also along with liberation and ease. So it's maybe something that was a little bit lacking in my way of enjoying my hike in the past. Like, I think there was joy, but if I ask myself, was there liberation and was there ease? Was there a relaxation, a kind of a joy that can last for a long time? Then maybe not yet. So when we talk about hiking Zen today, there was hiking, but how much percent of it was it really hiking Zen? I don't know. But I have seen that there is room for improvement, room for a little bit more Zen. And also the way we live our life, we try to bring Zen into every act, in everything we do. So we do very much the same things as everybody does. We sit, we walk, we eat, we work, we move, but maybe with one difference, and that is that we bring the taste of Zen into every act that we do. At least that's our aspiration. And we do that to maintain a sense of ease, of liberation, of joy throughout the day. And for us, it is like when we practice mindfulness, or when we talk about mindfulness, it is something that it's not just that we do during a short time and then we forget about it, that we do something else, but something that we try to maintain during the day. And we try to maintain it because we want to maintain the peace in us, and we want to maintain the ease and the relaxation in us. And so many of us, we see that we don't want just to copy our teacher, but we want to understand why does our teacher live the way that he does, and why he has a certain lifestyle, and why he emphasizes certain things and not other things. And so for us also, we see that we had a lot of joy in hiking and in being in nature, and maybe at a higher speed than Thai was used to. Thai was also a bit older than we were. But how can we still maintain the essence, and how can we bring the practice of mindfulness from sitting, from slow walking, from walking in nature to something that we call hiking in nature? And how do we do that? Thai has in his own life has benefited greatly from walking meditation in nature. So going slowly, nourishing himself with joy, being outside, being in touch with the beauties around him. So that was really nourishing his joy, and at the same time, there was also pain in his life. We've heard about the wounds, the psychological wounds he has carried by the amount of suffering he has seen in his homeland in Vietnam. And so also walking meditation was a way of healing, of recognizing the wounds, and taking refuge in nature, taking refuge in his steps, in his breathing, in nature, in the peace and quiet inside and around him. And the cultivation of joy is a real art. So as I said, it is the Buddha called it a factor of awakening. So it's probably important to be awakened for our liberation. But we also see that it also is present in other teachings. So, for example, love. One of the elements of true love is also joy, and this is true because we know that if we love someone, for example, also we love ourselves, then we want to offer joy quite naturally. And if we love somebody else, we see that that person is happy, then we also see, then that is also our happiness. So we also see that joy is not an individual matter, but to be able to nourish joy in us, we know that it's also good for our environment. Sometimes we are very stressed, and this tension we cannot contain. It just does not stay inside, but it also goes into our relationships. So being able to nourish joy in us is a gift not only for ourselves, but also for the ones we are with. And I see, feel I'm very happy to be in the environment of the brothers and sisters this week, because I see they nourish my happiness, and when they take care of their joy, then they also take care of my joy. So I'm very grateful for that. And in a very famous, well-known meditation sutra of the Buddha talked about 16 exercises of breathing, of bringing joy and relaxation and ease in 4 domains. In the domain of our body, in the domain of our feelings, in the domain of our mind, and in the domain of our perceptions, of how we perceive the environment. And we know that mind and our environment are not two separate things, but we see that if we are happy, if we know how to cultivate joy, then naturally the things that we observe around us also has a more positive painting. It's like a painting that is more optimistic. And if there's mainly pain and suffering inside of us that we have not yet dealt with, then everything around us, it looks kind of dark. So that also has to do with each other. And so Thai has found a way to bring the slow walking inside the meditation hall, which he learned as a young monk in his temple. He learned to bring that outside in nature and to be nourished by nature and to coordinate his breathing and his steps, and to see that those are 2 anchors for him to stay in the present moment and not to be carried away by his thoughts and his worries, his anxiety, but to have a firm base, and to see what he can do. And so I see um, that sometimes in Buddhism we talk about joy, and sometimes we use a different word, and it's like happiness. And happiness is described as something that has the quality of peace in it. So there's a peace, and it's something that we can maintain for, hopefully, for a long time. And that is something that I really admire about our teacher. When I was in his presence, I saw that that is something that that he did really well, according to my observation. And what he did really well is to maintain an energy of mindfulness with peace, with ease, with joy during the whole day. And I see it's a real art to do that. Behind me is a calligraphy, and it says mindfulness is a source of joy. And so we can help to bring light, the light of mindfulness, to be aware of our body and to bring ease and joy into our body by relaxing our body, when we sit, when we work, when we walk, when we hike. And the same with our feelings, that we are always capable of generating a positive feeling. And we all need positive energy in our life. We cannot only be in touch with suffering. Of course, suffering is also there. There's also difficulties, there are challenges. That is quite normal. Sometimes we get hurt. Sometimes we feel pain inside of us. We feel uneasy, like unease. It's quite normal. And it's not to get rid of it, but it's also a way of learning how to be there for it. And one way we can do that is also to create a balance. So it means it's like an antidote. So, for example, the antidote against darkness is to bring light into the darkness, and the antidote for suffering is to cultivate happiness, to cultivate joy and happiness. And so that has to do with bringing mindfulness in our daily life, and to be mindful of the many wonders that are inside and around us. And if we try, I'm sure we can all see wonders, things that we can be grateful for, things that nourish our happiness. We can be aware of the relationships that we have. We can be aware of our own body and to recognize the miracle of our body. And that is a practice of stopping to run into the future, to look for happiness, or to look out for happiness in outside conditions, and to come and to recognize that everything is already there, that we have enough. We have enough conditions to be happy in this present moment. And that is a kind of waking up. So we stop running to look for happiness in the future, in other conditions, and we see that actually in this moment we already have so many conditions to be happy. And that is something I would like to share with you in the form of a poem of our teacher. And we can listen to this poem, and we can see if we can recognize for ourselves the many wonders that are there. So we listen to one sound of the bell, and then I'll read the poem, and a few reflections that I have. This poem is called Our True Heritage. The cosmos is filled with precious gems. I want to offer a handful of them to you this morning. Each moment you are alive is a gem, shining through and containing earth and sky, water and clouds. It needs you to breathe gently for the miracles to be displayed. Suddenly you hear the birds singing, the pines chanting, see the flowers blooming, the blue sky, the white clouds, the smile and the marvelous look of your beloved. You, the richest person on earth, who have been begging, who have been going around begging for a living. Stop being the destitute child. Come back and claim your heritage. We should enjoy our happiness and offer it to everyone. Cherish this very moment. Let go of the stream of distress and embrace life fully in your arms. So it is a reminder for us to see that in this moment there's many wonders around us that can nourish our happiness. We just need to open our eyes, to open our ears, and to be in touch with the wonders. In the year 2010, I moved from Blue Cliff Monastery in New York, in one of our centers here in the US. I moved from there to our center in Germany. That's called the European Institute of Applied Buddhism. And when I came, there was already the practice of offering hiking retreats. And so it didn't take very long, and I became actively involved. And that gave me an opportunity to see what works well with a little bit of a higher pace, like from walking meditation, from slow walking meditation to a little bit of a higher pace, and maybe what doesn't work so well. So in all our retreats, what do we want to do? Why do we offer retreats? We want to do it to cultivate our joy and to transform and to heal suffering. I think it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward like that. And so also like a hiking retreat is no different. So it also means that we are looking for ways to bring joy, but also to bring ease, to bring relaxation in the way that we are walking. And sometimes we hear the phrase, there's no way to happiness, happiness is the way. And that is the same as stop running. In this moment, we can be happy. In this step, we can touch happiness. So sometimes we think, oh, mindfulness practice or meditation, that helps us to be happy in 20 years, or in 30 years, or in 10 years. But we can also, actually this phrase is not just a phrase, it's a practice. We can see actually there's no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. We are on a way of happiness. We are not on a way to happiness, but it's more certain to have happiness when we touch happiness with each step. So we don't need to wait for retirement to be happy. We don't need to wait for the end of our study to be happy, the end of our exams to be happy. But we can make a real statement with our own liberation to see that no, I don't need to wait for anything. I can be happy in this very moment. Happiness is here and now, and so that is something also in the hiking retreats that I've seen, is that people can touch happiness, and not during every step. That's a little bit much. That's of course a high ideal, but I don't think it's very realistic. But that's okay, because we have a practice to touch happiness, and maybe it will not work every single step, but maybe it will work some of the time. So with some steps, we are able to arrive and to feel happy, to feel that there's no rush. We don't need to arrive anywhere. And that is with all the hiking retreats that we do, we have nowhere to go. We just walk, just to enjoy walking. And in the end, at the end of the day, we come back to our monastery. So we know very clearly that there's nowhere to go and that there's nothing to do. And so actually all our practices are in that spirit of having nothing to attain, nowhere to go, nothing to do. We do working meditation. We just enjoy what we are doing with ease, with relaxation. That's also a practice. It's not about putting strain on us or doing something extra, but to do the things that we are doing with a quality of Zen, with bringing more Zen into what we are already doing. And one thing that helps us with that is to walk in silence. And this week we've been practicing in this chapel. We've been practicing sitting meditation, and I think for everybody it's quite normal that then we don't talk. We just practice sitting meditation. With eating, it's already a little bit more. Maybe something to get used to, because many of us were really used to talk. We're eating and we are in the company of other people, and then we feel like, wow, that feels uncomfortable to eat with people. You have an interest in people, you want to connect, and then you cannot talk. So it's maybe feels like feels unpleasant. And for actually, it does feel unpleasant for many people at the beginning. But then after a little bit of time, then for most people, they say, oh, I really like just to sit, to eat, and just to be there with my food, and not having this pressure of having to listen to other people or having to come up with a theme to talk about. But I can just relax and just eat the food. And the same is true with walking. So many of us, we have a habit of walking with other people as a sociable event. So we walk and we talk at the same time. And I know from my own experience that is also quite nice. It's also nice to connect and to talk. But if we are thinking about bringing to be nourished by our connection with nature, and if we are thinking about connecting to our own body and to our own feelings, to bring peace and to bring ease in our body, in our feelings, in our mind, and the way we observe nature around us, then silence has a role to play in our healing and transformation. So if we enjoy walking and talking, we can see that that serves a function, but we can also see that silence serves a different kind of function. And also for many people, maybe at the beginning it feels a little bit awkward to walk in a group and to be silent, but then at a certain point we can really, that's the experience that I have, many people say they really like to walk in silence, and they feel the connections because we we share a silence, and it's not just an inner silence, but it's also the silence around us, and it is something that connects us, and sometimes it's a much deeper level than words can convey. Um, and so also for this afternoon, I would just like to share um, a few practices that I would like to share with you, that that hopefully you also feel inspired to put into practice. And that is, I'm a little bit lazy. I sit so comfortably, so I just share it when I'm sitting, um, and that is. Um, so we bring mindfulness to our body. So mindfulness is mindfulness of something, and very often we talk about mindfulness of our breathing and mindfulness of our body in order to release tensions and to be able to create a sense of well-being in our body. And this is not separate from our feelings, from our mind, from our emotions, but bringing peace and relaxation into our body, it also helps us to have pleasant feelings. And this is what we can do while we are sitting, but also when we walk. And when we walk, we can imagine with each step leaving like imprinting a seal on the earth. And mindfulness is like the ink. So every seal, every stamp needs to have a clear signature, and the signature is our freedom, our ease, our love for ourselves, our love for others, our love for Mother Nature. So with each step, that is something that we can touch. And so we see with each step, that's like a stamp, is as a seal. And sometimes our steps have more like an imprint of our worries and of our anxiety. And when we notice that, we can also accept that at that moment we have energies in us that we want to transform, and we can allow the stability of Mother Earth to absorb these energies, because we see that Mother Earth is much greater than we are. So we are also, with each step, taking refuge in something much bigger than we are. And for some people, we say like we take refuge in God, for example. We take refuge in an energy or in a power that is much bigger than us. And we can also see that something that is much bigger than us is the earth. But at the same time also with the awareness that the earth is not separate from us. So we are aware that with each step we touch the earth and we are the earth. And also when we are in nature, yesterday I had the opportunity to to go out. Let me see, is that in that direction? I think is the Appalachian Trail, like a part of the Appalachian Trail, and it was very nice to be in that kind of environment. And the Appalachian Trail is a very long hiking trail, and some of us brothers, like also Brother Vablu, myself, and a few other monks, we walked on the Appalachian Trail 7 weeks as part of offering hiking retreats along the way. And so we had an opportunity to be in nature 24/7. And that was a great happiness for me. And I really saw, wow, that really, yeah, that was really transformative. And that really made me so happy to be happy with a very simple life. Because we did not have much, just had our backpack, a hammock to sleep in. We had food that was mostly like the dehydrated foods that you just need some water and you boil it. Very simple, but it was a great happiness to be outside in nature and living a very simple life and just walking, eating, sleeping. Very simple. And so yesterday when I walked a little bit on the Appalachian Trail over here, it was also a great happiness for me and very nourishing. And when I walk in nature, I'm also aware that I am also a natural element. So I'm not a stranger in the forest, but the forest is a natural environment, but I'm also a natural element. I'm also made out of, well, depending on how you look at it, but earth, water, fire, air, or we can say like, um, the trees in nature, the grass in nature, they are exposed to the same air as I am, and they, with photosynthesis, they they make me very happy because I have oxygen to breathe, and so we are connected, and that is something also we bring in to every retreat. If we feel disconnected, then we can always reconnect with Mother Earth, with nature, but at the same time with ourselves, because we are also nature, and we are made out of natural elements. In every cell of our body, we see there's a history over many generations that is being transmitted to us. So it's in our DNA, it's in every cell of our body. It tells the story of life, not only our own life, but of many generations and many species, not only the Homo sapiens species, but also the species that the Homo sapiens evolved from. So we see that that also being in touch with nature like that, it helps us to feel deeply connected to the earth, and at the same time to also feel deeply connected to all our ancestors. And especially in Asia, the tradition of being in touch with the ancestors is very deep. So very often when you walk into a home, also when I was in Vietnam and I visit homes, you see that there's an ancestral altar. And an ancestral altar is a reminder that we are a continuation, and we are not separate. And if we have that realization, it also makes us feel more connected, and not like as if we fell from the sky, or we are just put into this world, but we see that like we are part of a river, and we feel connected. We can feel connected to ourselves, we can feel connected to the people who are there with us right now, but we can also feel connected to a stream of ancestors. So a stream that doesn't have a specific place, doesn't is non-local. So we see in one way that our parents have passed away, but in another way we can also touch that our grandparents, for example, or even generations before, are still a part of us. And so when I walk, I very often walk in that awareness, and I see that my father passed away around 4.5 years ago, and sometimes I hiked with him, I walked with him. I don't think we can call it Zen hiking, but there was also joy in us walking together, and I was happy that we could do something together, something that we both like, because for the rest, I think our interests were very different, but at least hiking, that is something we had in common. And so also I see that that I'm also a continuation of him, and his joy to hike is also my joy, and my joy is his joy. And so sometimes I invite him to walk with me, and so I can really imagine him walking with me, or him walking with my feet, because I see my feet are a continuation of his feet. And so these are practices that we offer in each of our hiking Zen retreats. We've come to call them by a different name, and that is Path of Happiness retreats, because we call it a path of happiness, because it is a way for us, a means for us to touch happiness in each step, and to touch happiness in each breath. And so many of our friends, they also, when we share this practice, they invite their parents or their grandparents to walk with them, and to reconnect. So to reconnect with nature, to reconnect with our ancestors, is also to reconnect with ourselves, because we all have roots, and to be in touch with these roots. When we practice walking meditation, our teacher has often shared the practice of using a gatha, like arrived, arrived when we breathe in, and home, home when we breathe out. And that is in the spirit of nowhere to go, nothing to do. So we see we are already where we want to be, and we can touch happiness in this moment. We don't need to go anywhere else. So it's a way of stopping to run, and to really feel with each step, I am home here. This is home. I'm home in my body, I'm home in my feelings. I am there. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. When I practice this in our hiking retreats, I have a sense that it doesn't work so well. It works very well with a slower pace, But for myself, and I see also for many other people, it's not so easy. So it's something that I sense that, we can always tweak a practice a little bit to make it more appropriate to maybe a new style. So what I did see that actually does work very well is we don't need to do that the whole time, but we can do for a while to establish our concentration. Is when we walk a bit faster. What I sense, from my own experience, works very well, is to count the number of steps that we make on the in breath, and to count the number of steps that we make on the out breath. And it is not to give ourselves like a score, like, okay, I do it really well, or I don't do it so well. But it's more to also know actually why are we doing it. It's not to get an A or something like that, or an A plus. It's not that kind of pressure. It's no pressure. It's just to help us to stay in the present moment, and to focus and to build up some concentration. And also, so we establish ourselves in the present moment, and we are in touch with our body, with our breathing. We bring some joy, we bring some ease, some relaxation into our body. And that is also at the same time something we bring into our feelings, because that is also a domain. It's not 100% separate from our body, but it's we call it a separate domain because it's so important also. And we see that we can always do something for our feelings. So sometimes we see that we see the news, or we are in touch with stories that people tell us. We watch the television, we watch a movie, we watch sports, and it brings about all kinds of feelings. And we see that everything is nourishment, and so everything touches something in us, and it leaves traces, and these traces are also to be found in our feelings. So we can be aware of what we are feeding. So also when we walk, very often there's a lot of thoughts that come up, and ideally we would just turn off the television of our mind. In our mind it's like there's a television, and we are in touch with our thinking, images that come up from the past, or we are projecting kind of like into the future, and we think like what might happen in the future and how we will feel about it. So there are many thoughts that might come up. And of course it would be nice to just turn off the television completely. But sometimes that's a little bit more difficult than maybe choosing another channel. So we can also practice changing the channel. And I know it is always easier said than done, but there are always other things to think about that make us a little bit more happy, because we have chosen a channel and we see that, okay, this doesn't bring about positive feelings, happy feelings, so maybe I can shift my attention to another area that does make me happy. And so that can be the channel of recognizing everything that we are grateful for, and to open our eyes and to be in touch with nature, even if it's just a plant or the grass, and hear the birds singing, So we open our senses and we are aware of what we are thinking, and we know that we can always shift our attention. I heard one time somebody described it in a very in a very nice way. I thought is well, we all have our thoughts, and suppose that somebody is walking on our side and somebody is constantly talking and is talking out loud our own thoughts, then probably it wouldn't take very long and we would be so annoyed by this person that just cannot stop talking, all these thoughts that actually we are thinking. And but I think it's a very good way to describe what is often happening. Like we can easily get annoyed by the thinking pattern. And what my experience has been also during every kind of retreat, but also during hiking retreats, is that it gets better every day, and every day we come we uh, we come we arrive more deeply in the moment. Our minds come to rest, and we feel not so much. We feel more free, because very often what we think is not like it's not really our own choice, and so we see that actually we are better able just to choose actually what we are in touch with, what we want to think, and it's not so compulsive. It's not these thoughts that we think without feeling that we are in control of it. So every kind of retreat we can increase our level of freedom, and not to be taken hostage by our own mind and by our own negative thinking. And so after a bit of time, and we can be patient with ourselves, and we see that our minds are more at ease, and it's more easy to concentrate our mind. And this concentration helps us to also observe the interconnectedness with our environment at a deeper level. And so it is not just an idea. I mean, like, we can have many concepts and we can have many ideas, for example, about connection, about no self, about impermanence, about interbeing. But as long as these are just concepts, it doesn't help us very much. And the only thing that really helps us is to have our own concentration, and with this concentration to really be deeply in touch with our body, with our feelings, with our mind, and also with our environment, and to really experience the interconnectedness, and to feel that we are one with nature, not just as a theory, but really to as a fruit of our own concentration, of our own mindfulness, to see that we are not two, and that we can break through the boundaries, imaginary boundaries that we create by our way of looking at the world and by our way of thinking, thinking that we are separate. And I think this is one of the most beautiful things that we can arrive at, is a deep experience of oneness, where we see that all these names, like you, me, and plant, and human being, that we see that these are also just concepts created by our own mind, but it doesn't describe the nature of things or the absolute reality. Um, you can enjoy listening to the bell outside. So it's a really nice bell, really nice chimes, and at the same time, it's a really nice reminder that it's 6 o'clock. And maybe just at the end, just like to say one more time, if you need a bookmark, then they're at the end, and you can see if you're interested to know more about it, or kind of like as a manual or just for fun to read, then you know where to find the book. And thank you for coming, and hope we can all enjoy also already by with leaving this space, that we can enjoy all steps with freedom, with ease, with joy. Thank you. So I think especially for the people sitting on a cushion, we can unfold our legs and be ready with the next sound of the bell to stand up. And then wishing you all a wonderful evening, sweet dreams. And if you like, tomorrow morning in this hall at 8 o'clock, we have a sitting meditation. If you'd like to join, it's a nice start of the day. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Good to be here.